Hello, everyone. John DeShula with you on WBBZ-TV, your hometown television station, for the second in a series of half hours to talk about the stories of tragedy and hope, painkiller addiction. We have a studio audience here in our Eastern Hills Mall studio. We're right next to Macy's. And when Phil Arno put the studio together, this is probably his vision because we wanted to bring the community together to talk about important topics. This is probably one of the most important topics we will have talked about on this television station in a long time and in a long time to come. And we hope that it helps you and your family. You want to stick around for the next half hour. The stories of tragedy and hope in this half hour are going to be based on painkillers and painkiller addiction. Did you know that teens are using painkillers more and more? Not only are they prescribed by doctors, but they're using them and finding them in their parents' and their grandparents' cupboard. The statistics are astounding. WBBZ-TV produced a documentary to pick up on this very topic. We're glad that we could use a little bit of that in our show tonight to help inform you. Take a look at these statistics.
Prescription pills are floating around high schools like pencils and textbooks.
Even though you may try and get away from it, in your sleep, it will speak to you.
Every 19 minutes in this country, we lose a person to opiates.
Once known as the quiet epidemic, painkiller addiction is taking the lives of our young people.
When I was 15, that was the first time I ever tried opiates.
It was a Lortab that my friend offered me.
In my head, they were having a good time, so I was like, well, I might as well join the party.
I didn't realize what a can of worms I was opening.
Addiction affects all types of families from every corner of society. No one is immune.
You know, you don't wake up one day and you have a kid who is an addict. This sneaks into your family very quietly.
Everything that makes you you, and makes you unique, it'll take it, and it doesn't care.
This issue would not have been brought to our attention and to the attention of Western New York to the degree that it is without our first guest, Avi Israel, who you met on our first half hour a few weeks ago. Avi, you lost your son, Michael, and he took his own life. He was addicted to painkillers.
Yes, he was. Michael was really prescribed into addiction by his doctors. He wasn't going out in the street looking for drugs. It's very important for all of us to realize that there's a place for each medication that we take. Some medications may not be the right medication for us in the term that if you use it for a long time, you can get addicted. We trust doctors, we trust people to do the right thing for us. And unfortunately, the way things are today, the way our society is today, we believe in taking pills, and kids are not afraid of taking pills. Kids grew up with us taking pills for all kinds of ailments or for aches. So in Michael's case, it was hydrocodone for his gut pain, for his Crohn's. It was Xanax for his anxiety, and it was Cymbalta for his depression.
It's a toxic mix, apparently. And how old was Michael when he took his life?
Michael was 20.
This, as we talked about in the earlier show, it opens up a wound every time you talk about it, but you and your wife, Julie, decided to take that negative and turn it into a positive by calling attention to the issue.
Well, attention had to be brought to this. No doctor gets up in the morning and really wants to harm anybody. And the same thing with people. Nobody gets up and says that I want to be an addict today. So obviously there's miscommunication in there somewhere. And that's what we needed. We needed a conversation just like what we're doing tonight. We need to bring this to the community's attention. And this is a great forum to do it. And it was the same thing. We need doctors to communicate with patients, and we need patients to be aware of what they are being prescribed. And this is a great way of doing it.
And one way that you did that, and we'll bring in Rob Kubiak from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Western New York. Rob, you've really been the catalyst to get this message out with your organization. What was it like when you first met Avi and heard that story?
It was extremely moving. I think that every time, Avi tells a story, among others, you can't help but be moved by it. And what we decided to do was to help support Avi and bring awareness around this issue was to partner up with a number of organizations in the community and start an awareness campaign, not only for the general public, for our community, but also what we did first was a continuing medical education event for the medical community. And we had over 250 medical professionals go to this event back in September to learn more about it, to learn more about proper prescribing, tolerance to pain, asking patients their tolerance, and bring around more education around the issue.
Now, Blue Cross Blue Shield, your mission obviously is an HMO, but this feels to me like you're taking it one step beyond. You're really becoming an activist in this cause, funding the documentary, funding the public service campaigns that the television stations and radio and print are running at no charge, but you're really doing it above and beyond. It almost feels, as I know you and Gretchen and Julie are doing this, it's almost a personal mission.
Absolutely, and working closely with Gretchen, one of her favorite phrases is go big or go home. And that's one of the things that we really took the charge and we said, how can we make this big? And it started, working with Avi and then partnering up with a lot of media partners, including WBBZ and the work that you're doing here, working through the radio stations as well. And we've gotten a lot of talk around this, and that's really the goal of this. We wanted to help start that conversation because it's not just nice to hear, to learn more about it. We wanted to start that dialogue, and that's really been the goal and the focus of this. It's to start that dialogue.
Gretchen Fearley and Julie Snyder from Blue Cross Blue Shield. Avi, you're a very brave man, you and your wife, you're a brave couple, and we thank you for sharing your story and being the catalyst to get this going. In this half hour, we're going to talk about prevention, maybe some of the things that people should look forward to in trying to mitigate a problem before it happens.
Thank you. I think that is the best way to stop addiction, is prevent it from happening. And the only way that I can think of is really education, and that goes across the board. That goes to all prescribers and most importantly to patients and parents.
Well, we have a panel of experts here at WBBZ, and we're going to talk to them. When we come back from this break, we'll hear from the studio audience, and the stories of tragedy and hope continue.